Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Jonathan's Room, where Nerdum rules and Normacy drools. Last week I posted my review on Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I thought that it would be fun to have a BS session about it. So I invited a couple friends on, Jim English and James Rock. How you guys doing this evening?
Very good. How are you?
Good. So you guys heard my review on Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. What'd you guys think about it?
You and I have talked a little bit about this in the past. I think there's some points that I don't agree with you on, and I think you hit the nail on the head with a couple of points.
All right. Well, what were some of the points that you disagreed with?
Well, I think that when you talk about timelines, you have artist imagination, and artist imagination, being the author, can write at any period they want to, either in the past, present, or future. And I think that that's some of what happened, and that kind of threw you off a little bit.
Well, and then again, it wasn't really J.K. Rowling writing it. I believe it was Jack Thorne, because it was actually, the book is based off his play. So, but what did you guys think about the cover work on it?
I like the cover. It's imaginative. It's very different from what the other Harry Potter things have been. So I think it caught the imagination for a lot of people to want to investigate more. Exactly.
See, I don't get the point. I mean, it's just a little boy in a nest with wings on it. So, it to me, it just didn't make enough sense for it. And then, also, it's not. You can tell that it's not going to be an original Harry Potter story because of it doesn't have its trademark little lightning marks on the H and the P.
Right. Well, I think that was an intentional, with intent to steer away from it not being a part of the original series. It was something new, something inventive that's gone beyond the original Harry Potter. And if you look in the book, it mentions something about the wings being part of the character who ends up being Voldemort's child in the book. Delphi.
Oh, so that's not a little boy. That's a little girl then.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
I can't exactly remember where it was said, but it said something about she had those wings on. I believe it was a tattoo of some kind or a mark of some kind.
Yeah, it was a bird mark. She was supposed to be. Anyway, it was kind of uh,
Well, I think they said when she turned around, they saw the mark on her back.
yeah, it's on her back.
Right. The wings are right on her back.
But there's a name for it that I'm looking for.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
I think I know what word you're looking for, but I can't think of it myself.
yeah, well, I have the book right here. Mm, but um, you know, Harry does play a big part in this book. It's not just it's not just Albus, but the story centers around Albus and Scorpius.
Right.
So, in a way, Albus has felt that he has not met his dad's expectations because when he was sorted into the house, he was sorted into Slytherin, which was different because HP was Gryffindor. So he felt that he
Right.
didn't meet his father's uh, expectations, is what I'm looking for. How did you guys feel about finding out that Albus was part of the Slytherin house?
Well, I thought in many ways it was highly appropriate because when you go back to the original story, the Sorting Hat wanted to make Harry Potter Slytherin.
Right, but in a way, Albus could have done the same thing that Harry did and be like, no, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. But Albus didn't do that. And even in the beginning, uh, Harry told him he could do that.
Right. Right. But see, this is supposed to be 19 years after everything that happened in the series of Harry Potter happened. And when you think about it, that house represented the bad side of wizarding.
Right.
And when, after all, everything went down at Hogwarts, that didn't really matter anymore because Voldemort was dead. All everybody who tried to help him was either dead or in Azkaban, and so I don't think that it's a bad thing that Albus got put in Slytherin because it wasn't the evil house anymore. Well, in the bottom line of Slytherin, though, I mean, you go back to Professor McGonagall explaining the history, of each house. They all had noble origins, right? It isn't that Slytherin was all bad. They were just a different perspective of wizarding.
Right. But even still, even 19 years after, it was still taboo to be in Slytherin. But in a way, I kind of agree with you guys on Albus being in Slytherin because then he wouldn't have been able to meet Scorpius Malfoy, who is Draco Malfoy's son.
Well, they may have met, but they may not have been able to be as close as they got. I mean, they ended up meeting on the train just like Harry and Ron did. So whether or not Albus got put in Slytherin or Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, I think on some level that Scorpius and Albus would have been friends anyway.
See,
I think one of the hardest parts of this whole story is that we are used to reading full, detailed verbiage in books, right? And what we were reading this time was a rehearsal script for a play where much of the adjectives and the emotions are left out of the writing in order for it to be enacted by the actors.
right.
So there's a whole aspect of this book that we're missing. We're not getting the feel that we would normally get from a Harry Potter book.
Well, and see, I want to kind of get into that because I thought that the storyline was marvelous. However, I felt that it went too fast. Hold on, give me 1 minute. We had to take a temporary break. We are back. We are still talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Before we took our small little break, we were discussing the story and how I thought that brain fart.
But I honestly believe that the story is actually pretty simple. I don't think that it's a complex plot. I think it's relatively simple. By being a play, the whole intensity behind this production is in the technical aspect of it. Exactly, and you lost a lot of the technical aspects just reading through. I mean, I don't know about you, Jonathan, but when I read, I kind of picture everything in my head.
Right.
So that's what I was doing as I was reading.
And see, in the review, I actually made a point of that, because when I was reading it, I was seeing it, and I believe I said in the review that I gotta watch the play as well.
I have a background in technical theater. So for me, I was designing scenes all the way through that. Every time we got to another scene and I saw what it was about, I was creating the imagination of what that scene was all about. So I had to really tighten my focus on reading what the story was saying. And in the end, I really did feel that the whole plot line is solid but pretty simplistic. See, for me, did you ever see the movie The Butterfly Effect, Jonathan?
No.
It's with Ashton Kutcher. It's a great movie. You get a chance to see it. But that's kind of what this book reminded me of. Because in the movie, Ashton Kutcher keeps going back in time and trying to fix things, and they get even more messed up than they were. So that's what this kind of harkened back to for me.
Okay. So,
as far as the plot line goes,
I felt that the plot line was good, but it was fast and it was a little weak. And for you guys who might have missed the review, the plot line is Elvis and Scorpius find a time turner, and Elvis gets a wise idea to go back into time to try to save Cedric Diggory, because he feels bad that Cedric died. He got a seed planted in his.
It's important to remember why he got that idea.
Right, he got a seed planted in his mind by Delphi.
Delphi, yeah.
I believe it's. Let's see.
Cedric's father.
Yeah, she used him. She confunded him. But
right.
I think it's Delphi.
Well, Cedric's father had gone to Harry and tried to talk to him about using the time turner.
Right.
And then Delphi met up with Elvis on the stairs of his house, and that's when Elvis got the idea to get the time turner and go back in time.
Right, but
the whole piece of visiting a treachery right from the very beginning. Yeah, it's not until way further into the story that we actually find out who Delphi is. Right.
Right. It's actually towards the end of the story that we find out who she is.
Right. So
and
when we're introduced to her in the beginning, she appears to be who she says she is.
And see, when she was introduced, I tend to look at books kind of technically, and I think ahead of them. And I said, this girl is going to be Voldemort's daughter. And then when I read that she was, I was like, I knew it.
See, I didn't get that until later on in the book when they went to go see Cedric's father in the nursing home or wherever he was, and they mentioned his niece, and he said he didn't have one.
Right.
When it puts with me.
Hold on. So, James, what were you saying?
Yeah. he was, what was the last thing you heard?
I don't remember. James was saying something.
He was talking about how when he just discovered that it was Del. Right.
Right.
I see that whole thing took me aback when I found out that Delphi was actually the daughter of Voldemort. And incidentally, I kind of had this. I had an issue with Voldemort and Beatrix Lestrange being the mother of Delphi. I just what?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Why did you have an issue with that?
That makes perfect sense. It does make sense, but it also seemed to me that it was a little, I don't know, for lack of a better term, far-fetched. Why? Who else would go to bed with Voldemort? Very true, but I mean, maybe I'm not using the right phraseology. It just seemed a little convenient to me. Right. Yeah, a little contrived that all of a sudden, 19 years later, we find out that Bellatrix Lestrange and Voldemort had a child.
Well, and
wasn't Bellatrix killed?
What?
Wasn't Bellatrix killed?
No, she was captured.
Okay.
Because even in the book, they said that she was captured and she was put in
But back in Azkaban.
Azkaban. And then she escaped from Azkaban only to be captured again, and then she was killed because she got kissed by the Mentor.
So the whole challenge becomes, when did she have this baby?
It was around the same time that Malfoy and his wife were trying to conceive Scorpius. And that's the whole thing that actually started it, because they thought that Scorpius...
Wait a minute. Well, that can't be true, because by then Voldemort had already been extinguished.
Yeah, but the whole thing with the Time Turner is that they thought that Draco and his wife had the Time Turner. And because his wife couldn't conceive, they took the Time Turner. And this was a rumor throughout the whole book, because they were calling Scorpius the son of Voldemort.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that it was about the same time that Draco and Scorpius were conceived. Because see,
That had to be because Delphi was around the same age as Albus and Draco. I mean, not Draco, Scorpius.
No, he was older than Mount Draco and Albus. In order to be the child of Bellatrix and Voldemort, she had to be older. She has to have been born before Harry Potter ever left Hogwarts. She was born before, I think it even said in the book, I can't remember, that she was born just before the war at Hogwarts.
It doesn't make sense.
That would make her at least 10 years older than Albus and Scorpius. Exactly.
But that doesn't make sense with the timeline.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't. Anyway. But
I think it makes perfect sense because as Harry was off looking for the Horcruxes, Voldemort was conceiving Delphi with Bellatrix, and then once she was born, they stowed her away. I'm sorry, I even have a problem thinking about Voldemort having sex. He wasn't the most attractive thing on the planet, so it's probably fairly smooth. I don't know if everything else was. You know what I'm saying?
right.
That's a great big ew. Yeah.
Right. What did you guys think of Voldemort Day?
Voldemort Day?
Oh yeah.
I think that could have been a very distinct possibility if, well, what it did is it helped solidify the whole concept of what happens when you mess with time.
Right.
It made it absolutely very realistic that when you go back and you mess up something in time, here's the potential of what can happen.
And see, and they also kind of learned that from messing with time. Hermione and Ron were not married.
Yeah.
So after
Ron was married to
Padma, yeah, and Rose, who didn't play a big part as I thought she would be, suddenly became non-existent.
Right.
But yeah. So, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
Overall, I think the book was very good. I would love to see the play. I would chop off my legs and sell them to see the play. It would be hard to go see the play if you chop off your legs to go see it. But I think overall the story stands alone on its own.
Right.
And I think if all the Harry Potter fans went back and read from Sorcerer's Stone all the way through to this, it would make complete sense. Again, from my purely theater perspective, this play has a problem in that from a purely theater standpoint, no one part is supposed to outweigh the other part.
Right.
This play so technically outweighs the acting that it would take some very powerful actors to hold up to the technical aspect of it. Yes, I agree with that. This is a very technical play, and the story takes a second fiddle to the whole technical aspect of it. This play is, from my background, nothing but a truly very well trained professional theater could ever perform this play. It is so technically complex.
Well, and see, I think that's why they have not brought it to the United States yet.
Well, I mean, it just came out in London,
Right.
July 30th, the same day that the book was released.
No, it came out. It came out last year. The book the book was released after the play came out.
The book was released the same day.
Nope.
As
Nope. The play came out first. And then because the people in the United States were upset about it, they decided to make it into a book. Hold on.
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child Parts 1 and 2 was first produced.
That's a book.
It premiered at the Palace Theatre in London, England on July 30th, 2016. He read that directly from the back of the book itself. There's a section called About the Production in the back of the book. This book is a rehearsal script. It is not the script that they performed from.
I could have sworn that they said that the play came out first.
No, they came out simultaneously.
Because there was a lot of people who were upset when they found out about the play.
Well, there was a lot of PR that the play was going to be released. They simply took the rehearsal script and had it printed. The play was in production. It had not been performed yet to a live audience.
Well, I think that about does it. What do you guys think?
Well, I think I'm very much looking forward to the movie that's coming out in November with Eddie Redmayne coming to New York. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh, that is a completely different subject.
That's the next great step in the Harry Potter story.
Well, and see, I believe I read an article where J.K. Rowling said, no more Harry Potter. She's retiring him.
They just announced that they released 3 short pieces of footage that fill into the Harry Potter story. But I think those are going to be only released on the internet.
Yeah, but I believe she said that Harry was not going to be in those stories.
Right.
So, because she said that Harry has kind of been overdone, overexerted. She's retiring him.
Yeah, well, we've seen James Bond was supposed to have died after the third or fourth movie. Exactly.
Well, I mean, I think, in a way, if she does what Rick Riordan does and still brings in some of her characters, and including Harry, because what Rick Riordan has done is he has brought Percy into some of his other books for smaller pieces.
Right.
So if she decides to write other books with different characters, she can bring in Harry for smaller parts.
Who's Rick Riordan?
Percy Jackson.
Oh. Okay. I've seen the movies of those. I haven't read the books.
Palm and face. Or face and palm. Palm and face. Alright, with that last stupid comment, I think we're about done. So, you can find me on Facebook at Jonathan's Room. I'm also on YouTube if you have any questions. Or if you want me to review anything, let me know. And drop me a comment, drop me a message. I'm willing to look at other people's music, other people's books. Just let me know. Once again, it's Jonathan's Room. So, from Jonathan's Room, see ya.